Hopefully this video will be an extremely uncomfortable experience for you. But however, I also hope you will find the strength within you to fight through that discomfort and hear what I have to say. I get a lot of comments about having bad teeth, and I do. I have bad teeth. People think I don't brush them, but you actually have to do quite a bit of that to recover from the badness of your teeth. It's not like you can just start brushing your teeth and they become white overnight or something. I've been brushing my teeth for a while because my teeth are bad. A few of them have totally fallen apart. You know, they broke into pieces. There's just hollow nests where a tooth once was in the back ranges of my teeth. It's gotten to a point where I have to kind of eat with the front teeth, which is not good for those front teeth because it's putting too much stress on them. Extensive dental repair is required at this point. It's not a matter of aesthetics. It's a matter of logistics. I won't be able to eat too much longer without fixing the teeth. Yeah. How did it get this way? I just never taught myself to brush my teeth regularly. I've never really lived with a strong sense of regularity. I've always had a difficult time going to sleep at the same time each night, waking up at the same time each day, doing the same routine. I'm trying to get better at it, but this was the cost. A lot of dissociation was involved. Frankly, I wasn't paying attention to myself at all. I just simply wasn't looking at myself for ages 14 to 28. I just wasn't considering myself. I was trying to avoid thinking about or seeing what I physically looked like as much as possible, or interacting with my body in any kind of way other than to wash it. Strange. People always assume that I was generally stinky or smelly because of the teeth, even though I bathe every day. I've never been a smelly person. I've known some tremendously smelly people. I know the stereotype. So, but none of those people had bad teeth. They were just smelly people. It's all teeth with me. But it's because I can't stand the smell of my own BO. So I'm going to go take a shower if I start to smell, at all. But the teeth, sometimes my breath could be bad. Usually I'm not the victim of that. But, I also drank nothing but sweet soda from, age 7 to 24 or whatever, whenever I quit Mountain Dew and got onto tea, which isn't necessarily good for your teeth either. But the funny thing is, I'm not nearly as insecure about my teeth as I am about having facial hair. That's 1,000 times worse to me. And I can't do anything about it. I haven't shaved in a fortnight. No, 2 days. Not 2 weeks. A fortnight's 2 weeks. I haven't shaved in 2 days. But even when I shave, when I have just shaved, people tell me I have a 5 o'clock shadow. Because I have really dark, really thick facial hair. So, no amount of shaving. I was in a laser removal thing for dumb family reasons. I did not end up finishing that. And I don't know when or if I can. The biggest reason I don't film myself is I don't want to see myself with facial hair. I've had shitty teeth in my videos for 15 years. I wasn't insecure about the facial hair or all of that to the same extent, because I thought it was really funny to have crazy facial hair. I thought it was really funny to have such a huge beard. How much do you think I can talk without actually moving my mouth like this? Do you think I could do the whole rest of this vlog just without even moving my mouth? I had to say, the end sounds are the most difficult. I feel like I'm pulling it off pretty well. I feel like this doesn't sound that different from actually hearing you speak, even though I'm not moving my mouth in any way, shape, or form. It's good to know that if I ever lose complete function of my jaw, I'll still be able to hold a conversation. As long as my tongue isn't paralyzed. I guess to me, the beard represents like emotional insecurity and the teeth represent financial insecurity. Because all you need to fix this is money. You just pour a little money into this. You ever seen a rich person smile? Holy shit. It'll beam you right off the fucking earth. My favorite is seeing like 50-year-old rappers who've got like perfect white teeth, and I'm like, come on. Nah. None of them real. Don't lie. Just, I can't stand to look at your perfect teeth, Ghostface Killer. Buy me teeth, Ghostface Killer. Ghostface, buy me new teeth, Ghostface Killer. I don't know if any of you remember me filming in this field like all summer, but this was like tall grass and it's all just fucking dead and mowed. It's a trip. This has always been the Dark Souls spot. This is the spot I come to feel like I'm in Dark Souls. I don't care what none of y'all think. I've had an important realization about myself recently, which is that I and you can't be the same person to everybody. It's just not possible. Like, you cannot be the same way to your mom as you are to a stranger on the internet. Unless there is something really wrong with the way you think and are. And everybody knows it. Everybody will be like, why do you talk to your mama that way? Or why do you talk to strangers on the internet that way? And the truth of the matter is that there's always been a lot of division between the way that I am in real life and the way that I present my character on the internet. But for a very long time, I was trying to close that gap. Like, I wanted it to be the same. I didn't want to have to put on a performance. I wanted to be myself and be accepted by the same people who enjoyed that performance, you know? And in the end, it just created a lot of blurred lines where people can't tell what's real and what's a character, because it's really impossible to ever really know somebody like that, you know? Like, even people in your real life are probably confused about some aspects of the way that you are, whoever you are, you know? Everybody in my life, everybody I've ever met confuses the fuck out of me, you know? Everybody I've ever met leaves me with a feeling of like, how are you fucking getting by? Like, how do you make this mistake and this mistake on a regular basis and you're still alive? Here's just an example you can probably all relate to. When my grandma drives, my grandma Mima is pushing 90 and she's still taking these like hour-long drives from Outer Banks to Hampton Roads, and fucking she misses her turns every time. Like, she always mistakes where she's going. She drives completely insane in a giant oversized car, you know. I don't understand how she's not in an accident. Like, it blows my mind every time she gets behind the wheel and people tell her, you know, like, you probably shouldn't be driving, but like, you can't stop her. Like, nothing's gonna stop her other than getting into a car accident, you know. I mean, I guess she's probably not driving as much as as much as it seems to me, who only is gonna see her if she has driven over. But every time I'm like, how did you make it? How did you survive that drive? I made a whole video a couple years ago about how I hate Digibro, because everything that I thought like made that character distinct from me was something that came back to sort of bite me, you know. Like, everything about, I guess it's just, I see the characters I play as a reaction to the times, in a way, like a reaction to what is going on in my mind and in the world around me. and what I think I need to reflect outwards. And like, before I realized I was trans, I was really about like identity destruction. Like the idea that an identity is bad. And so my character was basically the lack of an identity. Digibro implies something that just kind of metabolized out of the internet. That was the idea. You know, it was originally 21st Century Digital Boy. That was how the name got started. Named after the Bad Religion song. That's named after the King Crimson song, 21st Century Schizoid Man, which is the name I was going to pick when I decided I was a man, and I never did. So instead I became a bro. A fictional thing, you know, like a bro is like an odd concept of a guy, you know. But I am, or, you know, when I identified as a man, I was at the very least a brother to two brothers. I have two brothers. And when people called me bro, I felt like, okay, that's something I can relate to as an aspect of masculinity. I'm a big brother, you know. Now I see myself as a big sister, and both of my brothers do, because frankly, seeing me as a brother is very strange. And both of them have grown up to be sturdy, fine boys, you know. I am an odd, amorphous girl thing creature. I had to admit that identity inherently matters to us as human beings. It just does. It's not about logic. It's about acceptance. You have to accept the way things are. And not that you can't change the way things are, but you can't change something you don't understand. Like when people say you have to learn the rules to break them, they mean that like you literally won't even realize you're breaking a rule. A lot of people are following rules on accident, you know, like they just don't know what the rules are, and therefore how to break them or how to use them correctly, you know. They just have a vague sense of what the rules might be and operate off of that most of the time. And I mean that in a scientific sense as well as an artistic sense. I know I brought this up in my last video as well, that I really think the sciences and arts are not very dissimilar in the way that they are approached, which is everything starts with a hypothesis. You know, you run an experiment and you end up with a verdict. And it may or may not be what you hypothesized. With art, like, it's harder to, I guess, produce a result that is, like, considered consensus negative than it is in science. Well, maybe that's not fair to say. Most people don't like most art. So maybe it's actually more fair to say that that a lot of us are more willing to lie to ourselves that we like things that we know aren't good in the art world. Whereas in the science world, it's like, if it's not exactly proven, then, you know, it kind of goes out. Well, that's probably not true, actually. I'm probably giving too much credit to the science world because I'm not a scientist and I don't want to offend them. But, like, the science people are probably watching this like, no, it's just as fucking bad in our field. It's fucking terrible everywhere because of the way the brain be. We're emotional thinkers first, and the more you disconnect from your emotions, the harder it is for you to actually think and to actually, like, not even to think, to act. The harder it is to make something. It's actually easy to get locked in your head if you're not, you know, willing to think about what's in front of you. Again, my teeth, I blame mostly, like, physical dissociation. Like, as soon as I started puberty, and my teeth were fine up to that point, I brushed my teeth every morning up to a point. And then I stopped wanting to see myself in the mirror, and I stopped going into the bathroom like that, you know, and stopped just totally avoided really seeing or considering myself. And it really wasn't until transition that I, you know, started looking at myself and started considering myself. But that doesn't mean that I overnight turned into like a fashion diva or like a, I don't know, somebody who's like deeply concerned about their appearance. Like, I care about it more on the health level. Like, I'm way healthier than I used to be. I was like overweight. I would have been winded doing what I'm doing right now. Like, I would not be able to have this consistent of dialogue with you because I would not have the breath to walk and talk like this at the same time. I have that because of all the physical stuff I've done. And that's most of where my joy has come from. Like, in the last 4 years, I've gotten tremendously more joy out of going on walks at scenic places than I have through anything I've done on the internet. Anything I've tweeted, I don't remember. I don't remember any of it. I know I had a really successful tweet about how Aragorn was never white or something, or was once really white, originally super white, and then never again, and then one time, and then, I don't know. That was like the most successful tweet I've ever had. That's the only one that sticks out in my mind. Let's see, videos I made. I made this amazing Perfect Blue video. And I made a pretty good video about anime dissociation. I'm sure I made something else that was decent, but none of it compares to, like, the images in my head of the places I've been, a lot of which I have footage of, but the footage doesn't do justice to the experience. It's just not the same, you know? Like, watching the videos is cool. I like the videos. They probably mean more to me than they do to other people because I'm seeing a window into my memory, whereas they're just seeing the images. And the images are cool and impressive, but it's nothing compared to the experience of going to a place and walking around it, which is why video games are so powerful, because they let you kind of do that. And oftentimes in places that are even more interesting than, like, well, I won't say more interesting. Video games can't do scale the way the world can yet. Like, it's just, I don't think the turnaround is worth, like, most people wouldn't enjoy playing a game that was actually in realistic scale. I think that's the main reason that it's not really done. Because everything is always downscaled in games, and also you move like ridiculously fast. So just exploration is very different in games. It's built to be satisfying to somebody who's sitting down, but like, the satisfaction that comes from walking through a place is different, and it's my favorite. I love video games because they give me the chance to do this when I can't do this. But if I can do this, I love doing this, you know? But finding that out about myself put me at a real crossroads as a content creator, because I'm like, well, now what I want to do for fun is go walk around in the woods, and like, how do I make that content for other people? Now, it happens that talking to myself is also one of the main types of content I do. So, like, you know, if you enjoy that type of thing, me doing it in the woods hopefully works just as well as me doing it in a room. I don't know. I don't know why people feel it's so different. What I've realized recently is that I cannot tether myself to trying to be this person all the time. Like, whatever Trixie the Golden Witch is not a complete picture of me, and it can't be. And I don't just mean me as like a human, but also me as a content creator. There's certain types of content that just don't make sense coming out of me, and so I've never pursued them. Or rather, like, I'll make stuff and just not show it to this channel because it doesn't seem relevant. And I think that to a lot of people, like, all the rap music already fell into that category, you know, of like, this is too different. This is too different of a person to be you. And I kind of agree. You know, I think that gap got closed in the Trixie era, but that's kind of such a different era. Like, in the Digibro era, it was like the personality in the videos was like this calm, collected, analytical person in the written videos, and then the personality in the unwritten videos was like out of control, drunken, dissociative anime reviewer, you know, like obsessively cataloging all of anime. Like, just the whole experience of being an anime fan. And then the music was like, wow, I really don't like myself in my life. You know, like, over and over again. Trial of the Golden Witch. Put that bitch on trial. And I just don't think that those elements came together for most people. And the only time it really did was the Gay and Dead era, and that had more to do with the PCP, because it fed into the way I was with that group. because, like, that's where the idea came. Like, it was the Radcon 2 was like, the experience of that is kind of what turned into that album. That and me getting a girlfriend not long afterwards. Those two things contributed to the way that album came out. And it connected with the people who knew me as, like, comedian podcaster, you know, which is also like a different person. It's also not really the same. So to some people, Digibro was like analytical, YouTube writer. To some people, Digibro was like unhinged vlogger. To some people, Digibro was comedy podcaster. And to some people, Digibro, there was Trial of the Golden Witch, which was like the real peek into what I was really thinking and feeling at the time that most people did not want to hear. And over time, like I said, I think with Trixie, it's been the same exact person in the videos and in the raps, because I'm often rapping about the same things I'm making videos about. I'm just not making videos about anime a lot of the time, or I'm rapping about anime. Either one, but the raps are just a lot more about what message I'm trying to send. Because over time, I realized that what matters to me the most about my content is the effect it has. I don't really care about the numbers as much as I care about the effectiveness. I like making money. I like when the videos, can provide me a living, which they kind of don't right now, but I'm scraping by. But like, it's when I see that like the most effective content I've had is stuff like how to recognize a terrible anime in just one episode, like, it makes me think that the culture is just moving too slowly. Like, that was a fresh thought 8 years ago. And people are, like, the main comment I get on that video now is, I can't believe this video is 8 years old. And it's because it took that long for that conversation I started to become mainstream. It's for people to now think, like, oh yeah, you should drop anime as soon as you realize it's bad. Like, that just wasn't a proposed mentality towards anime fandom until I made a huge video about it. And so it's continued having that effect, and I'm proud of that effect. I don't love that video. I don't think it's even necessarily the best video I've made on that topic. Riley has always said that his favorite video of mine is You Do Not Have Time, which is kind of the same thing. I literally calculated like how many hours are in your life expectancy and then broke down like how much of that you take up by doing this or that activity, and just reminding you like, hey, you don't have time to get all this shit done. You better pick something and start doing it, because you ain't got time to do all of it. And that's like something that sticks in my head constantly. I'm always worried about what am I going to get done before I die, especially if I die unexpectedly. What if this teeth rot kills me? Like, I can't afford to do anything about it. Like, I can brush my teeth every day. I can't afford to fix my teeth, so it's just like, well, okay, maybe this will kill me. But hopefully not. But like, that's the level I'm thinking about it on. So when I make a video and people are like, bro, your teeth, have you considered brushing your teeth? I'm like, you really think this is like an overnight, like, situation? Or like, but it reminds me of how shallow people's approach to watching content is. That like, people are expecting you to be trying to impress them with every aspect of who you are. I shoved the camera up into my mouth for a lot of that video because I thought it would be really funny, because I was talking about good cinematography and like how the emotional effect of cinematography, and I've got the camera so my eyes are not visible, only my mouth is for that section. I often try to be way too subtle. I'm not good at being unsubtle except by force. I would say that's kind of what Trixie, if I had to characterize what is Trixie the Golden Witch, it's all the unsubtleties. It's everything about me that is not subtle, that can be burst forth into a video. And so that's why I what I was saying about I can't be the same person all the time. When I actually do like get girly and dressed up and look cute, I don't want to make videos. That's not like, I'm not the type of person who gets dressed up to make a YouTube video, because I don't really, I guess I don't I'm not going to say I don't respect it as a medium. I do. I love YouTube. I spend most of my time watching YouTube. I just think that it's supposed to be unpretentious. Like, that's the point to me. And it's become way more pretentious over time. But, like, the point of this content to me is to not be all dressed up, to not be all, like, you know, to not corporatize yourself, basically. Like, if I was making a type of content where being, like, pretty and cool, like, was part of the message, then it would make sense. But the message is almost extremely the opposite of that. The message of my content is, like, literally stop worrying about what other people think and just do you and love you. Love you however you are in any state. If you're fucking filthy, love yourself while you're filthy. If you're fucking beautiful, love how beautiful you are. But, like, don't hold yourself to the same standard all the time, because you fucking can't. You can't do everything all the time. You can't be everything everywhere all at once, you know? That's what that whole fucking movie was about. Trixie the Golden Witch is a grimy character. Trixie the Golden Witch is not my cozy, protective, motherly, sisterly. There's a bit of sisterliness. I will say Trixie is a big sister. Trixie is not a mom. You know, there's parts of me that are. There's parts of me that are nurturing, parts of me that are just quiet. Most of me is quiet. The biggest thing, the number one comment I get from people who meet me in real life is that they are surprised that I am nice and quiet. If not for transmisogyny, the word they might have chosen would be demure. I am quiet. Like, in person, I like to listen to other people talk. I don't like to hear myself talk because I already know what I have to say. I think it all the fucking time. I'm always thinking. So, like, I've got way more than enough of myself. I need other people's influence. Other people make me feel stronger, you know? Like, I woke up this morning, I watched a Doechii interview that made me feel stronger as a person, you know? I watched a few videos that were good. I know I watched a Professor Sky video where he probably said something good in it at some point. You know, like, I look up to what people have to say, and sometimes I look up to the way they look and the way that they carry themselves, but I can't just, like, I can't be Doechii, you know? I don't fucking look anything like her or come from in any way similar background experience, but, like, I see what I can take from, you know, like, hearing her speak. I think, okay, well, like, if I looked at myself more the way you look at yourself, I could take myself further, you know? If I had more of the energy that she has about herself. And I think, you know, what makes Doechii so powerful, actually, is that she can kind of be the same person in all these different scenarios, or that, like, I don't know, there's a natural flow between the states, I guess. Like, maybe she's already figured out what I am explaining, which is that you know, in the effort of being everything, you cannot do it all at the same time. That's what the song Boom Bap is about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to Doechii's song Boom Bap, which is about how she kind of blew up as a singer, like, off of a big hit R&B song, despite being a rapper. But she also raps in, like, every style. She raps in every lane, you know? So in the end, she made a song called Boom Bap that's about being everything, about, like, all of these things equally represent who I am. And that song in itself sounds like a little bit of everything. It just sounds like this insanely maximal, you know, anthem of declaring, yeah, I really can do it all, just not all at once, which means you have to stay paying attention to me. You have to pay attention to every single thing I do, because it's not the same. It's not going to be predictable. It's going to be something new and exciting, because I'm constantly on the search for the next me. I'm always on the lookout for, like, what's going to be the next thing I can embody, the next thing I can bring forward and give to somebody else, you know? And, like, right now, I feel like something that I find really difficult is the lack of, like, ugly trans women online. Like, it's driving me insane that every trans YouTuber is, like, some insanely hot girl. And I'm like, I can't be held to this standard for the sake of fucking walking around in the woods talking about the shit I'm talking about. Like, this isn't cozy fucking hug box time. This is challenge yourself and become a better person time, you know? I don't march on soft hours. I march on hard hours on this channel. That doesn't mean anything. I just made that up. I've never heard anyone say those words before. There's a lot more to me than this. But this is what you get. Maybe you can find another me. They're out there. But they're not the same. You won't get this experience. You will not get the Trixie experience from somebody who's not Trixie. And the Trixie experience, I've come to realize, is only meaningful to me in as much as it is effective. I don't like making videos that don't have an effect. If my video seems ineffective, then I feel like I didn't do anything, like I just wasted time. If you want a great example of a demoralizingly ineffective video that I made recently, and granted, I made this purely out of just passion and, like, honestly, mostly dissociation. I really needed an excuse to, like, play video games for a while. I was not in a good headspace. But I made this long-ass Tomb Raider video. And it's not something I really announced or even really promoted. I just kind of dropped a 6-hour Tomb Raider video on my channel. And I was like, let's see what happens. And the answer is mostly nothing. You know, like, whoever is a viewer of mine that happens to be intrigued by Tomb Raider and is willing to sit through a 6-hour unscripted but heavily edited video would watch it. But the thing about it is that it ended up being a super unique video. Like, it was really fun to make. It was fun to experience it back because it was kind of unpredictable for me even as I was making it. And, but it's hard to, like, explain. It's hard to recommend someone that video because I don't really know who it's for besides the type of person that's just, like, out to watch experimental 6-hour game reviews of 10-year-old games, you know? Maybe not a huge category of people, I don't know. But, like, that's the kind of thing I make just out of passion. But then if it doesn't have an effect, I kind of look at it like, well, then what was the point, you know? Now, granted, again, with that one, it was really more about me. It was more about where I was at the time. And it helped me through that. And I got inspired. You know, I learned who Rihanna Pratchett is, and I admire her. So I got I got a human connection out of it in my mind. You know, a deeply parasocial human connection. But, like, at the very least, I got something out of it. But, like, the Destiny video I put out the other day, tremendously effective right off the bat. It came out immediately, not just gets a lot of views, but a ton of comments. And yeah, the video has a lot of dislikes. It's like 67% likes last time I looked, which is better than I kind of expect. I thought people were going to be really mad. I was like, I'm really just, like, kicking up dirt for the hell of it, just because I watched that Friedland Show episode and thought it was hilarious. So I was like, all right, let's do a video about this. Let's go. Debate bros are cooked, you know? And it worked. It got all the effect I wanted out of it. So that got me looking at, like, the content I've been making and thinking, like, well, what is this? Like, what is it about? You know, like, what am I trying to do to people by making this content? What am I trying to make people think? What reaction am I looking for? You know? And so I have to narrow in on certain things because I'm intrigued by, I view YouTube videos as a conversation. I make a video, you leave comments, I read all the comments, I internalize, like, a generalized sentiment, and then I make my next video based on that. So, like, in my last video, all of the comments about Destiny is exactly what I expected and was really fun. It was fun to see the Destiny fans come in and really ball wash that guy. Like, damn, y'all are... I get that you've spent a lot of time and invested a lot emotionally in the guy, but he's not your wife. So calm down. Anyways, aside from the ball washers, all the people who were on my side were hilarious. I love reading. I love when people agree with me and are funny, because that makes me feel like I'm definitely right. Like, if the people who disagree with me aren't funny and the people who agree with me are funny, I feel like I've won. And that's what I got out of that video. So that was gratifying. But there were a lot of comments just about my teeth. And I'm like, I don't know, it's a weird bully tactic to me, because it assumes one of two things. It assumes that either I haven't noticed, or that, like, I have noticed and I'm very insecure about it, so therefore it would be a good way to bully me. And that is more or less true. I am insecure about my teeth. Like I said, though, it's more of a financial insecurity thing. It's like, oh shit, I have to make a lot of money to fix this mistake. You know, like, so that's, in my mind, like, if people bring up my teeth, it is motivating, because it makes me think, yeah, all right, I'll make the money, I'll fix the fucking teeth. Because, you know, part of the rebellion of it all along is, like, so, like, my parents are super anti, like, cosmetic surgery. Like, anytime they see someone who's had a cosmetic surgery, they always comment on it and always make fun of it. They're always talking about how fake something looks. And yet, my mom got so insecure about her teeth that she got braces in her late 40s. She went to college with me when I was in my 20s, wearing braces in her late 40s, you know, at the same time my brother Shade had them, when he was like 18, 19, whatever, somewhere around there. So my mom got braces, and the braces did not work to fix her overbite. So then she had like a jaw realignment surgery to put her, you know, to make her mouth look, I guess, normal. The fucked up part is that for like, it took several years for her face to really adjust to its new shape, where like I could always feel this sense that like she's not used to her jaw being forward. So it's like her face is like unsettled and like trying to groove into it, you know? I watch this happen because this is the kind of shit I pay attention to. And it's why I have a hard time with people, because I'm going to notice everything about you. And I'm really trying to hold it all in and not say anything most of the time. But, you know, like, I look at that and I'm like, well, fuck, is that gonna, like, if I get braces, am I gonna be like, you know, first of all, using a retainer for the rest of your life? Like, you're supposed to literally put a retainer in every night forever, or else subtly the effects reverse over time. I don't want to do that, you know, like, but again, I was so busy thinking about it on the cosmetic angle that I wasn't concerned enough about it on the health angle. And part of that is because I just kept getting my teeth filled up until I was 25, because I was still on my parents' insurance. So, and they were paying for it. My dad had the money to afford to, you know, pay for me to have my teeth filled every so often. So, you know, initially when I started making money, I had enough to get my teeth filled. But now it's been long enough since I've had any dental work done that the teeth that were in a problem state before I started brushing have just totally dissolved. So, like, there's two big holes in my mouth that every time I eat anything, I have to, like, dig all the crap out of the holes. It's not pleasant. I told you this video is gonna make you insecure and feel bad. You don't want to think about having teeth like this. You can't even see the bad ones. It's the fucked up part. Like, you can see how this front tooth comes out way farther than that one. That's the biggest issue, right? Like, that's the main cosmetic flaw that draws attention, is that tooth coming out. Now, the funny thing is, from above, it's kind of cute. This is what my husband sees. He sees cute little smiley. But when I film like this, and I put you in the fucking thick of it, how deep can I get you in here? Can you see anything there? Can you see? Can you see the fucked up parts in there? I don't know if you can see it. Oh, that's pretty good, actually. Can you see the fucked up parts in there? I guess if there's a real message to this video, it's bring feminism back to transgenderism. Being trans is supposed to be a feminist thing. You're supposed to be like, you know, all women are beautiful and I am a beautiful woman no matter how I look. Like, isn't that like standard issue feminism? Can you hear my heart through my teeth? Alright, I don't think I need to advertise myself. I probably put the link tree on screen the whole video. You either know who I am, or you're not very cool.